Okay, this is a really fancy fixture that I've had 3 different fixtures on this same machine over the years. I'll see if I can't find a picture of the rudest and crudest one. And then the last one I made, I gave to a friend of mine when I designed this one. I'm pretty sure Greg and I showed this in detail in the old Jim Silica bead. Anyway, I'm getting ready to make this round just into a flat kind of Hishi shape. Because I knew that these corners were going to all get ground off, it didn't really matter if this was at a weird break angle. Anyway, I'm going to fire the machine up. You'll probably be pretty impressed with how quick this becomes a tube. Okay, I'm going to take the high edges off first. Obviously, I should be over the curve. This is 100 grit diamond. It obviously moved back some, so I need to tighten it up a little bit. Okay, I turned this off for a second, and what I'll do is I'm going to keep tapping this in. There's some tension on it, and I'll finally get to a point where I hit the lowest spot. Okay, you hear that when it stops? Right there, that's the remaining spot where there's a flat. Oh, there's another one. And now I'm just going to keep spinning it until it pretty much quit hitting any diamonds. know how quick using that fixture gave us the, basically I'll call it a he sheet. I don't see any flats on it. So once you have that shape, it's perfectly consistent to this hole. The outside diameter is perfectly smooth to that hole, so that puts you in a position to where you start shaping it. There's no high and low spots. So now we'll get set up and I'll start shaping it. Okay, now we had blowout right here. So if I take a magic marker, I do it on both sides. Magic marker. That's so you can see where your center is. And then I've got a jet piece down here so that the teeth of the pin vise don't dig into the edge of the bead. If you spin any kind of stone on steel with grit and stuff coming off your stone, it'll cut a circle in your stone. So the first thing I'm going to do is push it on there, and then I'm going to loosen it up a little bit and push this pin down far enough to where it's a little bit below the top of the bead. And the bead, once I get going, the bead will spin freely. It's a little bit uneven on this face, so that my first thing that I'm going to need to do is get this face to where it's smooth. So that's what I'll start out doing, is I'm going to work this face so that I can almost get that black off of there. So let me get a little soap on here. Get my water in. Okay, here we go. You see how freely that bead spins? Anyway, I'm just going to work up and down on the face of that. See how it's disappearing, black? Get that face parallel to the bottom of the, oh, my drill. Again, I had to tighten up the pin because it slid back. Anyway, back to what I was doing. You can hear that. It's kind of like a bouncing noise. Anyway, you just work that face. It's still got a lot of black on it. Once I get this side done, the other side perpendicular. The face is, the back side's flat because it was down when I drilled. Okay, that little tiny bit there I can go ahead and leave on because I'm going to end up finishing this with probably a 360 mesh wheel. So then you flip it over. You can see right here where that was spinning, even on the jet, it took the black away. I used to joke that I could make a bead one-handed. Watch. It wasn't a joke. Okay, what I want to do is get just a slight curve on both sides. get it spinning pretty good and then drop it down to your hole. See, no black. There's still a little bit of blowout here, but a lot of that'll be taken care of when I actually finish the bead. Okay, flip it over again. And a lot of this becomes second nature. That's why I showed you I could have this bead spinning with one hand. Okay, now I'm going to change over to a smoother wheel because I don't really want to. I'll get a little bit of the bulk off of it. Okay, once you have both these faces where they're cleaned down to the hole, then you can start working on your shape of the face of the bead. I'm just going to get most of the stuff out of the way so it'd be too slow on a 360. Okay, you just get it spinning. Okay, that took a lot of the edge off, so then flip it over. And I'm putting soap on it every time I do something with it. Get my water down where it belongs. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. A little bit of movement back and forth helps keep the bead spinning. And when you get to the point I'm at, because I came down the side quite a ways, you start going past center when you come around. I'm going to do that same thing to this other side, and then I can change over to a much finer wheel. Okay, you can see now the shape. You know, you can kind of see this was my original cut, and when I did the outer edge and the face, I came back down into that original arc. Same thing here, pretty close to being the same on both sides. And then I got a rough shape. I'm going to go ahead and work on this side a little bit more because it's not balanced real well. And you can cut wide, you don't have to be pushing hard all the time. Okay, now that I have it balanced pretty well, I'm going to go ahead and change over to a much smoother wheel, or grinder, yeah, wheel, whatever, that thing I'm working on. Anyway, you saw how quick it was to take that pretty darn hard piece of chrysocolla into that shape.
What can I say?
Okay, I just changed out to a 360 mesh wheel to do the final shaping. You don't really want to try to get your bead perfect on a real coarse wheel, because if you do make an error, and a lot of times with a real coarse wheel you can't see it. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start making my full single cuts. I want this from the center of the top of the bead. I want a real nice even flow down to the hole. Both sides, hopefully they'll come out exactly the same, which they will, or close. The main reason I'm going for that full flow down to the hole is that's what makes your beads hang perfect side by side. You know, if I was doing a whole strand of beads here, I'd be doing this a strand of beads with nice big fat beads like this down to, you know, smaller in diameter. Probably 100 beads. Maybe, you know, be better off maybe making 120 bead blanks and then go through each step all at once. Anywho, what I'm going to end up doing right now is fire this thing up. I'll start really being very critical on my shaping. So let's get the water going. Fire that up. The bead will spin real easy now, and I'm going to be using a really light touch. I'm not having to really remove it much. In fact, what I'll do is I'm going to mark top center on this. So you can see where when I go past center, right when I just started to fire this up, I could see center. So I'm going to go ahead and start shaping the final shape on it. And you can tell I'm not really cutting now. You know, obviously I'm going to have to cut some, but I'm just mostly going for the shape, the look. You know, and if you sit off to the side of the wheel and look at the outside edge of the bead as you're coming around, you can see the shape. Anyway, I'm almost at center. I'm going to go ahead and leave center there for right now. Typically, you'll go past center, but right now I'm basically doing a visual lesson. You can see that I've come around. There's still a little tiny bit in the center here that's still 100 mesh. So I'm going to go ahead and flip it over, do the other side. And right now I'm watching the outside of the bead. I'm not even looking at the grinding wheel. I'm also getting splashed in the face. I'm getting stuff all over my beard. Okay, I can hear a little bit of a high spot as I'm coming around, so the 100 grit bounced a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to I'll go ahead and stop this again. You can see my center. That's not quite too centered. So I'm going to go ahead and go past that black line. I'm going to go past center. And a lot of times I just go by the sound, because I can hear that bouncing a little bit. Now whether that's the grinding wheel not running real true or the bead was a little bit bumpy. So I'm past center now, and I still have a bit of a flat in here. There's a flat here. I need to keep that out of the water so you can see it. And there's a flat here. You know, what I'll do now again is I'll go ahead and put some marker on there where the flat is. And it is critical that on this final shape, and you need to come all the way down to your hole. You know, that's one of the things that takes practice to actually get down to the hole. I'm going to move my water a little bit so I get my face closer to the wheel. Okay. I don't know if you can see this soap or not. That's just bar soap I'm putting on there to make it so it spins easy. Okay, here we go. I'm going to get down to the hole now. Like I say, this is one of the trickiest spots. But if you leave that flat down there, don't have a nice curve coming off of that hole, your beads flat to flat get. Okay, that little bit like that doesn't really matter. You know, I'll probably go ahead and clean it off, but let me do the shaping again. Get it spinning. And then just go for a real nice, long, slow cut. And you're not really cutting, you're mostly, almost like when you're working on wood, you're doing your preliminary sanding, for lack of a better term. You will notice that every now and again I might drop it down onto that side face again. Okay, come around and go past center. And I'm just floating that on that grinding wheel. I'm pushing very little. Okay, that's all that's left of the flat now. Do the same thing on this side. You know, and it takes, I don't know, if somebody sat down and did 50 beads. You sat down, got 50 bead blanks and did 50 beads. All of these techniques I'm showing you, I'd say within 50 beads they become second nature. You just know the feel, you know what it needs to look like, you know what the shape needs to look like. Okay, I'm down on that side too, so I'm going to get it spinning again. And then go for that big, long, smooth cut. I had fellow bead makers years ago tell me they thought I had one of the weirdest techniques. but I'll put my beads up against any of them. They just thought it was too much trouble. But if you want to have a super beautiful bead, this is the way to do it. Okay, I'm going to go past center, flip it over. Oops, lost my space. Go past center again. And going past center and following the arc, that's what gives you that real nice face. Okay, let's see what that looks like. And then you just need to inspect your beads, see if you like how it looks. This side right here is kind of weird, so I'm going to cut it a little bit more. It was a little bit too flat for what I meant by weird. It needed a little bit more of an arc on it. I'm going to have Greg keep that on. Move that out of the way. Wipe this bead off a little bit. Make sure everything looks good. Oop. I don't like it when I say oop. That might cause problems. Okay, here we go. Oh, that was wet. Okay, if I'm holding this out a ways where I can see the bead from a distance, I can look down this curve on the side, and I can also see the curve on the face. There's a little bit of a booger on that face. The arc's not exactly what I'd like to see. Okay, the sides have a real nice, where the bead will lay real, next to each bead they'll lay nice. Okay, this face is a little bit pointy, and I can just finish it even without having water on it, because I'm just trying to get a nice, smooth transition on the face. Okay, that's a pretty symmetrical bead. You know, it's still, right now it's still ground, it's not sanded or anything, but what we'll do next is I'm going to put on my 600 mesh expandable drum, and that'll help me get anything that's maybe a little off. Which it doesn't, they're not off once you are comfortable doing what I'm doing. It's just going to smooth out any, for lack of a better term, any facets where you were cutting. The black that's showing now is from this jet, it's not from the marker. You know, and then what I'll do now is put the 600 expando drum on there. It should be prettier. Okay, this is a 600 mesh corundum. I find a lot of times I find that corundum even works better than diamond. What this is going to allow me to do is I can put some pressure on it, and being a rubber expandable drum, it's going to give me some cushioning. It's called draping because you get a little bit of a indent as you're pushing on it. There's, for lack of a better term, there's some facets on here, and what they are is lines where you, when I was coming around on the wheel, if you hesitate a little bit or for various reasons, you always end up getting lines. You know, hopefully you can kind of see them in that video. So I'll fire it up now, and then again I'm going to go down as close to that hole as possible, and then come around, and this will take those lines off of there. And I'm pushing pretty hard. Part of the reason being is I want that belt to kind of deform, and that allows the drape that I was talking about to take place. See, I just pushed it right on that hole. It was spinning, and I just pushed it right up against that hole. Come around a couple of times, go past center, and then wipe it off and look at the face of it. See if you see any of those facets, or for lack of a better term. And it looks pretty good, so I'm going to flip it over, do the other side, same thing. For some reason that thing wasn't spinning for me. Okay, here we go. Again, past center. By going past center, you don't ever get a point for it. Okay, I'm going to go over this probably 2 more times on each side, just to make sure that any scratches that were left behind by the 260 wheel or 360 wheel are out of the equation. Yeah, I'm pushing pretty hard because I've pretty much got my shape and everything. And I'm, like I say, I'm just trying to make sure there's not any scratches from the diamond wheel. It's looking pretty good. That's just looking real good. I did notice over on this side, it looks like I didn't quite get down to the hole on this belt, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then going to take a little break and inspect this with a 10 power lube and make sure I'm happy with everything before I go to pre-polish and polish. So I'm going to go all the way down to the hole this time, which I thought I had done. Much better. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn things off and inspect this real good. And if I need to make a few minor cuts on it before I get to the next step, I'll go ahead and do it before we do more video. Okay, this next thing's extremely critical to me, and it should be to you too. After I get a bead shaped and nearly ready to polish, I break the edge of the hole. I'm using a 600 mesh diamond tree burr, whatever you call it. I'm just going to get that down in the water. I'm going to shove that on there and work it back and forth a little bit. Let me get it turned on. The main reason you're doing this is to keep the bead from cutting the cord it's strung up on. You know, just spin it around some, wobble it, and don't push hard with 600 mesh, you're going to knock the diamond off. Again, do the same thing. And it really doesn't matter if this gets a little bit big. Some beads, I think it makes them more classy. I worked this side a little bit more because that last side I did was the side that had the blowout. So now I'll dry it off and see what we can see. Okay, it shows a little tiny bit of the black marker from where the blowout was, but you know, that's just part of that bead. And I could go to the trouble to really spend a lot more time on it, which I may do after I'm done polishing it. I might work that hole a little bit more. There's other techniques which I'll probably do. I have some really interesting flame tips. I can get in there and actually round that a little bit. Oop. Make it where it's more of a rounded than just a tapered edge. So that's what you do for the hole. Even if that's all you do, it will make it where it won't cut string. So now we're going to go over to the wooden wheels and start doing the final work on it. Okay, when I just did a video on a round cab made easy, and I did it with Chris Praise, and I did notice that when I was using the foam-backed wheels, that it tended to give me scratches when I'm trying to finish. You know, 14,000, I was seeing what looked like 360 mesh scratches. So this beads down to 600 mesh corundum. I'm going to use my wood wheels because I know they won't throw scratches in this. I'm only going to polish this or take this up to 1200 mesh, and then I'll just finish the rest of it without doing a video, because you just have to go through the steps. If I wanted to take this up to the most beautiful polish I can, I'd go 1200 mesh first, clean the bead real good, go 14,000 mesh, and you can stop there with most material. And then if I put a 50,000 mesh on it, it just kicks it up a little bit more, which I feel is critical with opal. I've cut opal beads and had trays where I'm moving, going like from 1,200 to 14,000. Anyway, years ago I did do 2 bowls that were, I had one that was up to 14,000, and then I was doing the opals in 50,000, and there was an amazing difference. So I may do this bead up to 50, but for the video purposes, I'm just going to do it up to 1,200. I will show images of it when it's fully polished. Okay, you just get it spinning. Diamond's so free cutting that I think I said it last time I used this wheel. I just assumed this wheel went slower. I mean, that chrysoprase round cab I made, I finished the back of it just by rubbing it on diamond, pieces of diamond belt. You can see there's I mean, that thing's, it's pretty smooth, you know, and that, you saw how long that took. Little to no time. You know, I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side, and then we're gonna go ahead and quit videoing it. There might be some more work involved, but if you're making, you know, you're the one that makes the decision on the beads you're making, on how much time you wanna spend on them and how critical you're going to be with the finish on them. You know, if you see the bead start slowing down a little bit, you just change the angle and it spins faster. You know, and you just start down there at the hole and then get it spinning. Okay, that was 2 passes. You know, and you can see, I mean, that's pretty darn smooth. You know, I'm going to go ahead and inspect this real good. I'll probably work on it a little bit more, but just so the video's not super boring and super long, we're just going to go ahead and quit here. I'm going to go ahead and finish the bead all the way out, and I will take photographs of it and put on the video. Hope you enjoyed.